try not to fall asleep during this thing. That game took a lot out of me.
It did, man. Seriously, Evan Turner's 27 at bats. We were having a rough time, man.
I was just convinced it was going to be over with tonight, but I'm Jared, by the way.
I'm Josh. Good to be here, my brother.
Just saw the Braves force Game 4.
Game 4, man.
So, good times.
Yeah, it was good stuff. It did. It was one of those games that felt like, I mean, I know baseball takes a lot of crap for how long it takes, but it really did feel like you were watching it for days. And it's because we had the lead and it's like, come on, finish up. And then they tie it up. We go back on top. I'm a Acuna, baby. How about a grand slam when you're a kid? I love it. That is just so awesome. I love that for the game. He made that crazy catch in Game 2, and he's got the slam tonight. I love it. Love that guy. Makes me very happy. I don't need to know how many feet he is off first base. That's just a note to Fox. Just a note to Fox. But
why is he the only person that got that?
I think it was the situation. They're just trying, like you were saying, that you cut to that camera to be like, is he going to go? Is he going to go? They're going to hold him on. Is he going to go? So I'm just like, you can, like we're saying, man, in that situation, you can just put that on the screen. Everyone's going to get it.
Really all you need.
Y'all know me, man. I want in-game cameras or in-game commercials done away with. Put a Jiffy Lube logo up there. Hey, I ain't worried about that. If Ronald Acuna's taking a lead and it's like, hey man, Chick-fil-A, that's okay. Just don't cut away. You got to do it.
Every foot or step, whatever they were judging it by, it rolls over to a new ad.
I tell you what, that's the deal, man. If they, however many feet they are off of home plate or first base, that's how much. That's like, you get. I don't know, man. You get 50 cents off of if you get a foot long, buy one get one foot longs at Subway or something. Oh, he's 12 feet, guys. Hey, 12 feet. Want a 12-inch sub from Subway? Go, Ronald, steal that base.
Yeah,
that'd be awesome, man. Shoot, that's cool.
I can steal off that dude anyway.
Yeah. Oh, seriously, man. I'll take anything I can get. I know the Kaufman Tire, man. They'll hook you up. Hey, if the Braves win by 19 runs, you get 50 cents off of a set of 9 tires.
All right.
Who needs 9 tires? You do it, Kaufman. Okay, you're right.
That's the only way they sell those now.
9, come on. Who doesn't need 9 tires, you idiot?
I don't understand it either.
You're a commie, sir. You're a commie. Support America, Kaufman Tire.
You don't have a car with a full-size spare?
That's right. Oh. Fine then.
Whatever.
Pinko. Pinko is my favorite outdated insult. I miss it, man.
It's just nice to have an actual team win around here. It feels like it's been a while.
It's the strangest thing. I was thinking about this earlier today. It is the strangest thing.
Been a rough couple of days.
That's the oddest thing to me is that the summer sports in Atlanta were amazing. The Braves did something they shouldn't do. United, yes, they are still in first place. They made it hard on themselves losing to New York last week, but they won yesterday. They are still in first place, and they are the class of that league. You've got, for Pete's sake, the Dream, who made the Eastern Conference Finals. All the summer stuff went great. Now you have 2 gigantic entities in the state, in the University of Georgia and the Atlanta Falcons. University of Georgia is one of the 2 best teams in all of college football. But for the love of God, let's only talk about the Falcons. I get that people want to obsess over their own misery, but it's like we've never had a better year in Georgia. Yeah. But the Falcons are bad, so let's obsess over that. I get it. The NFL is a huge deal, but ain't as big a deal as it used to be. But because of that, remember this conversation when basketball season starts because, oh God, are we going to be awful at that?
Oh, yeah.
So then you'll hear more about the Hawks this year than you have at any point in the last half decade. Because they've been okay, not great, but okay. In 2015, they were
passable,
fantastic. That was like numerically the best team the Hawks have ever had. And even the last couple of years, the records were awful, but man, they were a lot of fun to follow. I love them anyway, so I guess I'm biased. But they've been a blast to just keep an eye on and watch. This year, we'll see. I mean, if you want to see Trae Young take 40 shots a game, I guess you're okay. But I'm hoping that the process that we're ripping off from Philly, I hope it works. Excuse me. I understand we're trying to set ourselves up with, as many. I know top 5 sounds ridiculous, but lottery picks as we can get. That's the whole deal with trading with Dallas and all that good stuff. We're going to be awful, so we'll be in the hunt again. But every time I mention that, people go, but next year's draft class is like the weakest it's been in years. Zion Williams is going to be in that draft class. So if you say so, I say Get Zion Williamson. It would be okay. But I'm not looking forward to it. Primarily because I feel like the Hawks traded away this season for favor with ESPN, because anything Oklahoma these days, good God, between Trae Young and Baker Mayfield and Kyle, whatever his name is, the kid at OU right now, I have this conspiracy theory that Fox and ESPN are in a bidding war for Oklahoma and Texas. You never hear anything critical about any of them anywhere, and ESPN's trying to get them to join the SEC. I don't know what Fox is thinking. I don't know if they're thinking Big Ten or Pac-12. They have deals with both. I don't know what they're thinking. It seems to me that the Big Ten, ship sailed, because they had Texas. They wanted Texas so bad, and they had them, but Texas basically is we're a package deal. You got to take both of us. The Big Ten, the academics at Oklahoma. Oh my goodness. Oh, I don't think we can associate. And I shouldn't make fun of them for it, because we in the ACC did the exact same thing to West Virginia. So it sucks. But all right, if y'all aren't in, the SEC's got no problem with Oklahoma's academics. I promise you. And I think OU and Texas in the SEC would be awesome. Yeah. But I guess ultimately what I'm saying is, if that's what's going on, holy crap, I hope they make a decision quick, because all of this, but OU, oh my God, look at Oklahoma. Man, I'm tired of it. I need a break from somewhere. It's like if you're an MSNBC person or a Fox News person, there's no alternative. If you like Fox, that's cool. I want to watch Fox. But you tune in to Fox and they're saying the same stuff that they're saying on MSNBC. It'd make you nuts. Like, oh, hang on now. I'm coming over here for something else. So I want a channel where they talk endless crap about Oklahoma, I guess is what I'm requesting. Baker Mayfield ain't no good. Plays for the dang old Brian. He thinks he's so good. Now, he did win today, though.
So good.
But he won today, so good for him. Yeah. And somebody else had, like, insane numbers. And then I'm like, how in the world? But I don't remember who it was. But it was like numbers were crazy. And they got beat, like, badly. Which makes sense, I guess, because, you throw a lot when you're trailing. But
the Drew Brees model.
Oh, God. That was the thing about Breezy and Brady, and how Breeze tomorrow is going to set the record for passing yardage and all that. And it's like, oh, I know he's worshipped. It's very strange. Colin Cowherd had this huge fit about how underrated Drew Brees was. And I'm like, my God.
Like it's rated just fine.
You must not have ever been down this way, buddy, because I'm telling you, that people down here think that Brady is a pretender to the Drew Brees throne. I just don't get that at all. I completely missed Drew Brees not getting his due. And he put his 8 best quarterbacks up and all that, and it's like, I don't want people telling me that Aaron Rodgers should be in there over Drew Brees. And it's like, ain't nobody mad that Brees is in there. He makes this huge deal about like production and winning big games, and there was something else. I think like lasting impact, how long you've been doing it. And Rodgers wasn't in there, and Brees was. Well, he had Brees listed 8th, but he made the point several times. These aren't in order. These are just the 8 guys. So why do you assume everyone wants Brees out and Brady in, or Rodgers in? It's not that at all. It's that you got Marino in there. Mm-hmm. If winning meaningful things counts, how in the world is Marino in there? That's the problem. I'm totally with you. And Steve Young wasn't in there either. And I'm like, you really got a problem, because Steve Young is my guy. I would pick Steve. Mm-hmm. If I was putting a team together and building a time machine, that'd be the quarterback that I wanted. I love him. And it's messed up because I grew up a Montana kid, and I still like Joe better individually. But as the player, give me crazy Steve Young. Yeah. And he's always the best 5 good minutes guy on pardon the interruptions. Latan was real good too, but Steve Young is routinely awesome. I love that guy. Yeah. Yeah, man.
Yeah, that's one of those deals with Marino is like, I was just like him out to have that much success that early on. It's gravy train is never going to derail. Yeah. That's the only time you ever got there. It does kind of stink, but it's you have to factor that stuff in.
I do feel bad to trash Marino, because Marino and Fouts are 2 guys that I really like, because there was this lull where it seems to me that the objective was to put Tom Brady over as Brady's the greatest, Brady's the greatest, Brady's the greatest. Now this year, particularly with the roughing the passer calls, they talk endlessly about, oh, well, stats are so easy now. Stats have been easy for most of Brady's career. Stats were easy in Peyton Manning's day compared to what Marino had to deal with, Dan Fouts had to deal with. So if we're just talking about production, I love having those guys in there, but you're the one banging the drum for significant wins. And if that's a criteria, he can't be there.
Yeah.
I don't mean to be a joker about it, but he can't be there. If significant wins matter, you can't get in there with no rings, especially if you're in there over a guy with multiple rings like Young. That's just crazy.
Yeah.
That don't work, man. That don't work.
Don't cut the mustard.
It doesn't, man.
Did you want to talk anything about the show last night? The UFC thing?
We can. I didn't see it, but I know what went down. So yeah, we can talk all about it, man. We can talk about.
I don't have a dog in either one of the fights.
The only thing that I know that happened last night is Habib looked across the ring and decided to crush his enemies, and then he decided to jump out of the ring and crush more enemies.
So you shall.
Yeah, man. It's cool. I think it's a great way as far as keeping your name out there, keeping people interested, and getting the people talking. I mean, it's. I guess that I shouldn't give the summary at the beginning, but the first thing I thought of was going forward. For UFC people, this might not mean anything, but for people that like UFC and pro wrestling, you'll get it. Whenever Jim Cornette talks to you about wrestling dying when Vince McMahon decided he didn't want to pay taxes anymore, believe him. Because he's right. Because that's literally all that happened last night with the crowd losing their mind. And here's why. People, it's a strange thing. There was a strange reaction online of people getting so upset. And Habib is so classless. Oh, he ruined it. I can't believe it. And I don't understand where that's coming from. And the reason I'm asking is this. Sincerely. If class and sportsmanship are the things that you're into, what the hell are you doing watching a Conor McGregor fight?
Yeah.
That makes no sense to me at all, man. And what it feels like is that you liked your shit-talking little dude doing his thing and talking all that mess so long as he wins. But then when he gets beat up, you want him to be the poor, pitiful baby and pet him on the head and make him feel bad. It's just one of those weird things.
He's got a brain injury for something.
Yeah, he does, because Floyd Mayweather beat the crap. Oh, man, Floyd just danced around. Yeah, well, Floyd beats your boy's brain to frickin', I don't know what they say. I don't know. I was going to say cream of wheat, but I don't think they have that in Ireland.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't understand why all of a sudden.
Pudding.
Yeah, now we're concerned about the way people conduct themselves in the name of promoting fights. You had absolutely no problem with him taking the racist low road with Floyd Mayweather. You had no problem whatsoever with him talking about Islam. You had no problem with him taking shots on Habib's father and his faith. But that's too far. And it's not like he jumped. It's not like he went Ron Artest and jumped in the crowd and beat anybody up. Because the thing that drives me the most crazy is, I was telling Jared earlier, Dana White's not as good an actor as he thinks he is. And how calm and cool and collected. I can't put this belt on you because if I do, these people, they'll throw things in the ring. And then after the fight, it's just nuts. You know, there's 3 of his guys got arrested. They're arrested. They've gone to jail. Dana White, when he actually loses his mind, is real high-pitched and real big buggy-eyed, and it's like, nah, man, you're way too cool about this if it was real. The other thing is, it's Las Vegas, and there's armed police everywhere. If crap really starts going down, it wouldn't look like that. Yeah. I'm sorry, man. It's just, maybe I've seen too much pro wrestling.
I feel like I'm seeing the show.
It was Steve Austin's tweet nailed it perfectly, and that's the whole point about. Yeah, man, it feels a lot like Vince, so we call it that.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. That was the biggest problem I had with it. Is like, I don't know why this bothers you, because McGregor doing anything in the name of promoting his fight and upping his bottom line makes sense. It's the same reason I have a problem with what Mayweather does, because they get paid at the end of the day. That's how you get people interested. But how you can be interested and brought in by his antics, and how is there a line? How can you possibly think it's I just didn't understand why, some dude in Camp Connor running his damn mouth and pointing his finger at Habib, and Habib goes over the fence and kicks him in the face. I mean, it just seemed like, it seems like we've seen it before, honestly. Yeah. But no, it was fine, man. And the fight itself was great, because that's the biggest problem is that I did it too, man, where we just talk about the post-fight and no one actually talks about the actual fight. And this is all just impression, because the guy that I watched, and it sucks, I'm sorry I don't remember who it was, because he was really good and I enjoyed it and I'd like to give him credit, but I didn't write it down because I'm dumb. But he was very, very pro-Conor. And so you have to take that into consideration when you're listening to the fight, because a pro-Conor guy when they start giving Habib credit, you know it's bad. And so the whole, well, McGregor won the third round. He's the only guy that's ever won a round off Habib ever. And it's like, wow, this sounds just like Mayweather. He lasted longer than people thought he would. It's like, man, y'all are just sad.
So he won, right?
You're sad. This is a sad fan base, but that goes back to Cornette's point. I'm just never going to be convinced that all this fallout, this mock outrage of, oh my God, there's no decency left in the world. What is happening? The fact of the matter is, well, I shouldn't say facts because it's just my opinion. I'm never not going to be convinced that all of you, once again, sided up with your Lucky Charms eating buddy boy, and he let you down for the third time in 5 fights, and emotionally it killed you. And that is what Cornette's, the point Cornette's tried to make forever about, you can't tell people it's fake. If you tell them it's fake, they don't have the emotional investment anymore, and you can't keep making money off of them. In UFC, the emotional investment is still there. So it's like, man, you can't just take your lumps and, man, my guy got bested. Oh, no, which he did. I mean, he got mopped for 3 rounds and then tapped in the 4th round. And all we want to talk about is how classless Habib is. Like, man, I don't, that's pathetic. But Corny's right. He's definitely right that taking the emotion out of it that's what killed it, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, but that's, you know, I just thought it was kind of it was one of those fights that I just didn't have, I've never had enough interest to actually buy one, but I'll track it down one of these days and see who puts it up and check it out. But I did watch most of the highlights of the Super Showdown under, and I mean, it was fun show, but it just feels like that house show on steroids that they tried to give this WrestleMania treatment to, and then when you watch the show, it's kind of like, this isn't really WrestleMania, y'all. Yeah. So it was have fun, but this isn't the real deal, and it was just, you know, that's why I was like, did it have to be 4 hours?
Oh man,
it was rough to get through, but that's one reason why I'm wore out now. But I mean, it's nothing really to write home about.
Yeah, I can dig it, man. Yeah. Maybe
John Cena showed up looking like, you know, Mark Wahlberg or JBL.
JBL, man. Yeah, it's like those little shaggins.
He had this kind of little faux promo at the end of the match, wink, wink, nudge, nudging at a retirement. Like, look, we're already at a show where a guy is going back into about retiring. Until when a Saudi prince comes along and wants you to be in the match, you're gonna be there.
You're gonna be there, absolutely.
So don't give me that horse hockey.
Nah, man. Shawn Michaels had already embraced retirement to the point that he finally came home and got rid of that thing on his head.
Yeah.
Much to the chagrin of fans, people giving him a hard time for it. He looks great. I think that's a much better idea. It's like, why on earth?
He clung on to that.
He did.
Every bit.
He did. He made a professional decision that he was going to keep that shaggy bobbin thing until he was done, and then when he was done, it was gone. And it's like, okay, that's you, brother. Do your thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I'm totally with you on the. I can't believe he's coming out of retirement. He thought Undertaker was never coming back, and it'd be great if you got the fairy book, the storybook ending and all that good stuff. But like you said, man, the Saudis or the Aussies or whoever come and throw a check your way, hey, that's you, man. You go get that. Go make that bread.
Yeah. I would full support of going out there and getting that.
Sure, man. It goes back to the McGregor thing. Anything that Conor wants to do, including insulting somebody's religion, hey, man, it got him paid, but it also got his ass whipped. And what can I tell you, man? Sometimes those things go hand in hand.
Oh, yeah.
It's just, it's cool. It's just got to be worth it to you.
Yeah.
If somebody, oh, man, he's too sensitive. Let Conor's words get to him. I want to watch that fight again there, buddy.
Yep.
That, like, oh, man, he got in his head. He's playing the mind games. Well, apparently that doesn't work on Russians, because if he won the verbal war. Well, he damn sure lost the physical one, man. It's like, ooh.
How'd that go for you?
Yeah, oh man, it's like, all right, let's not play mind games with Eastern Europeans again. Maybe that's the rule. Mm-hmm. But nah, man, I have totally missed all of that stuff, which is dumb. I've got the freaking network turned back on. I was telling Jared now I got to stick around for Undisputed Era and War Raiders, man, because it's like they keep doing the ad, not running the ad, but I've seen like stills of the promotion stuff. I'm like, oh, I gotta see it. I gotta stick around long enough to see that.
I think that's one of the things that the show left you with. It's pretty predictable, most everything that happened, but you had the Samoa Joe AJ Styles
Samoa Joe
match, and still kind of thinking like, well, it's a show that's not in the country. I didn't realize how much I wanted Joe to win until that match was going on and how good it was. You're like, man, Joe really should win. He really should win, but they're still doing that thing of any time somebody gets close to setting a time with the belt to bump CM Punk another rung down that list that pops up, they're going to do it.
Yeah,
and you can just kind of feel like this is what's happening. So AJ's going to have it for a good couple months, weeks, months longer.
So AJ's going to have it till they want to throw it at Bryan Danielson.
Probably.
Ugh.
That might be what's happening, because that's next on the I think that's going to be at Crown Jewel.
Yeah, and AJ's docket.
Yeah.
AJ's match docket.
At the Family Jewels event
Yeah,
in
seriously.
Saudi Arabia.
Oh, it's going to be there, right?
Oh, it's what people keep saying.
God willing. Allah willing. Yeah, man, that'd be fantastic. Come on back, Hulk, you racist piece of... bring Randy, he can rap for us. Oh, wait. No, he can't.
Oh, no.
Oh, no, because he's no longer with us.
Oh, that's just...
That's sad.
They need to be hateful.
That's sad. He saved us from the Armageddon, you know. I do remember that
Yeah.
post cracked me up. Thanks, Randy.
Speaking of Randy, this has nothing to do with anything, but this crazy YouTube videos that you go on and watch, and there's I don't know if this is going to be a new show on the WWE YouTube channel or what it's going to be, or maybe it'll tie into their podcast, but there's a little video that they posted of Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder going out to a toy shop in Cincinnati, I believe.
Yo, makes sense, man.
You know, that it's a lot of Kenner stuff still out there.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of those shots, and that's what he tried it home with. We both had kind of this, I would have had the same reaction. I'd been like, what is that? But there's this little case that they come across, and there's, it was not a prototype figure, but it's like a prototype packaging mock-up, and it was the Macho King Randy thing. And what they did is they apparently would carve the figure, the bubble out of wood, and get that down and how to make the bubble. It's the type of thing, like even a prototype, like the odds of finding that aren't very good, let alone something like that.
Yeah, man.
And you know, if you want to see what this idiot paid for it, you go ahead and you watch that video.
Have fun with that.
But it's the type of thing that as he's paying this crazy amount of money for this thing, like, it's a piece of wood. It's not the figure. And what are you going to do with that? Who cares? It's like there's this culture of people that go after the Topps Collector's Card Rainbow, and I have to include the 101 in it. Well, have fun doing that. Have fun doing that. But if that's and one point that does make in the video that does make kind of sense. If it's the type of thing I guess you spend money on when you have nothing else to spend money on. But if you have every figure in the line, and you have the 2-ups that they made and the prototypes and all that other crap, like, what else is there to buy and stuff like that?
The wooden blocks.
Yeah.
That's all you got left.
And could you at least humor me and paint it up like Randy? It is a block of wood. I
must have it.
It really does, because it's the type of thing that even some of the 2-ups, I've at least heard stories about and seen before. This I've never even heard of or seen before. It's kind of like, did you make this up, store shop owner guy?
Yeah, for real, man.
You lying to me?
I like to whittle wood in my spare time, and this idiot will buy anything that's wrestling, so I just spun him a tail and made a little money.
Woo!
Not my fault that Zack Ryder's dumb. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Who gets hurt? Nick?
Hey, come on! I got money. He's an idiot. We're fine.
Everybody goes home happy.
Everybody wins. Man, the Kenner thing is awesome. I had no idea. Danielle, hey Danielle, what's up, man? Is telling me always. Danielle knows more about toys than any 4 people I know put together. And they go up to there's an Ohio toy show, and they go most years. They go to the Cincinnati convention.
The Toy Man show.
Yeah, man, I believe you. I should remember it.
That might be Chicago.
I've got Kane County stuck in my head, which that's the Chicago one, and I'm like, man, I cannot remember what the Cincy one is called, but she was explaining to me that was like the hub for Kenner, so toy shops and secondary stores and things like that are monstrous there. I'm like, God, that's awesome. I'm glad I know that now, because Cincinnati's a pretty cool little town anyway. Now that I know that, it's like, well, shoot, I'm going to go, knock around, see if I can find a woodblock Macho Man.
Randy.
You got Rhythm and Blues, Greg Valentine, and the Wood Grain?
You ain't
For real, I don't want to hear it then.
One of the cool things that shows up at the video, and it was one of those deals that it got brought up on a show, and I was like, man, that didn't happen. And then they
You
produced,
lying piece of crap.
then they produced photos. Like, I still don't believe that. And this video, one comes into the shop and it's there in front of you. Like, well, I guess that did happen.
Still lying. I don't believe nothing.
The LJN Series 1 Sergeant Slaughter.
Oh, yeah.
That when I heard the guys talking about it, I was like, y'all, they did that. They just did it a few years later with the G.I. Joe stuff. Like, no, this was completely separate. It had separate hat and glasses that came with it, and there's one in the shop. It not being sold by the shop owner. I think Zach and Kurt show up in your shop. Old buddy did some networking around Cincinnati, and
Can I borrow that?
all his bros that come into the shop wanted to come check him out.
They're bringing the camera.
And so he brings, I just got this idiot to believe that this block of wood is a Randy prototype. Bring the fig down.
Bring the Sarge.
and that's he just brings it in just to show it off. And God knows if I had that thing, I would too, because it's not only is it the figure. I mean, it's painted and pristine and gorgeous looking, and that's and the guy straight up told us that it's not for sale. He's just bringing it in to show it because he knew he was in the shop. But he's trying to get a figure out of him, and he never gets one. He's like, just give me a figure. Just tell me. If it's not for sale, just tell me. And Kurt went to the exact same figure that I was thinking. I was like, that's probably what it would take. But he's like, he drops the 10 grand number out. And I was like, man, you tell that guy that number, he's probably going to pay. So
$1 million.
It's totally awesome, but it just makes you think of what could have been. Like, man, the G.I. Joe LJN Sergeant I'm thinking of, that I had one that, long since, got rid of when I saw what they were going for. Then it's one of those seller regret things from eBay sometimes that I come across. I struggle with that a lot, but
Stuff that I sell, I'm usually okay with. There's a few that I've missed out on by change that I still kind of burnt over. I totally get that.
Mm-hmm. But I have, bought and sold all kind of stuff that I've done a few different rounds of. I'd sell stuff off of that. No, I need to get that back.
Buy it and what was I thinking? Then you sell it. What was I thinking?
Yeah. I do that a lot.
Yeah, me too, man. It's been a while. I haven't plunked anything off eBay in a while, actually, man. Because Jared can tell you, man. I hate auctions. I do them every now and again, and it really is the only way to get deals off of there. But man, I just like to buy crap outright, man. So I spend a lot more time with Amazon sellers than I do eBay stuff. But with toys, you've got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, just get it wherever I can.
Yeah, and that really is the best way to go about those. I need to get back on there and get my. Excuse me, I have 2 more Mini-Mates Avengers that I got to get. I think I need to buy 3. There's 3 of them that I need to buy. And it's Captain Marvel, which I probably screwed up and waited around too long now because I think
it's going to be hot.
Yeah, they're either hot or hopefully they'll put another one out and then I can... Because
that's a possibility.
All the crap I've got is the comic book stuff. I don't want the movie stuff just because... it's silly, but the reason I like the comic stuff better is because they're all brighter. That's just yeah, man. My Avengers mini mates are awesome. They're like 11 deep now, and they're all super vibrant, and I like that. And it makes me happy. I need Captain Marvel. Gonna put her out with the Hulk helmet because I love that. I need War Machine, which I hate because War Machine costs a lot of money, and that's not the bad part. Bad part is I only want the head and the hair. I just want Rhodey, man, because Tony Stark I've got doing his old repulsor thing, and the helmet's off. It's cool, man. Got the stash looking, it looks cool. Mm-hmm. But I don't want Rhodey to be War Machine. I want him to be the Silver Centurion Iron Man for a couple of reasons. One, the bonus reason I'll start with is that the face on the mini-mate of Silver Centurion is Iron Man that I loved as a kid. It looks like Timothy Dalton, got the big blue eyes. I love it. So I want to take that face and switch it out with the Iron Man that I've got. Take the Iron Man I've got, throw the head on War Machine, and then sell the War Machine armor, because then I want the Silver Centurion armor with Rhodey's head on it, because that's awesome. And in the original, go back in the day, West Coast Avengers, when Hawkeye was putting the team together in LA, and I asked Tony Stark to send his bodyguard Iron Man to help him out. Tony sends the Silver Centurion, and he sends Rhodey instead of going out himself. I'm like, that's awesome. So it's a cool little reference to West Coast Avengers, which wasn't a great book, but it was enjoyable. Yeah. So I like it. Mockingbird, I'm still contemplating. I don't even know if they've done her. It seems to me that I know they did a Marvel Legend of her. I don't know if they've ever gotten around to doing a mini-mate, because Hawkeye's wife, man, you gotta have her if I can. But I don't know, man. Those are good numbers, though. That would be really cool, and it keeps my ratios looking good. And I think oh shoot, who will it be? I think it's just the Iron Men that will have the helmets off. Not T'Challa, doesn't have his helmet on. It doesn't have his mask on either. And I was gonna do Steve with the cowl off, but the Steve I have is great. I love it, but man, the hair it comes with just looks so gimpy 80s Ken doll that I hate it. So I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. He's got to remain Steve. So that's that. And then I tried it on Hawkeye for a little while and looked stupid on him too. And I'm like, get that Hawkeye hat back. And also the Hawkeye helmet's so sweet looking. It's like, how in the world can you not use this? Anyway, it's my next eBay excursion whenever I save up all my money and buy my mini-mates. But if you're in the market for a War Machine and don't care that it's not Rhodey, eventually there's going to be one up, because I'm totally turning that around. I don't need that. Yeah. It's, again, I want bright colors, man. So the silver and like the kind of burnt red will show up better than black and silver.
Cool.
That's how we do, man.
That's just, I've come across the most of just doing the trading cards now, but that's been about it when it comes to eBay stuff for me these days. So yeah, don't do much of it. I
think the last eBay thing, normally when I do like my cards, I go to like the Beckett site, because it's crazy, but there's really almost nothing you can't get there. But I think the last thing I did off eBay was the, excuse me, I was putting the Cubs together. And I'm still not done, because the 5 guys I picked immediately, it's like, man, why did you do this? This was dumb. Because, no offense, and other guys are great, but I don't care anything about Rizzo. I don't care anything about Bryant. They're not my guys. I don't know what I was thinking. It was a mistake. And the dudes that I want are, got to do Hayward, because how could you not want Hayward? Yeah. And for Pete's sake, his name just shot right out of my head, man, because I got Addison Russell stuck, and that's not who it is. Man, I can't believe I forgot this kid's name. He played center field. He wound up going to the Cardinals the very next year. Hopefully it'll come back before we get off here. But those are the guys I want. Don't have any of them, and it's like, okay, well, I need to fix that. But my third guy, what I do is 5 guys, 2 pitchers, 3 position players pretty much every year. 95, of course, was different, because with Atlanta, you got to have 3 pitchers. Yeah. And then with the Reds in 1990, I did the full Nasty Boys, because the Nasty Boys, how do you not? So anyhow, there's that awesome card of Ben Zobrist dressed up like what's-his-face from the Sandlot, where he's got the jeans on and the PF Flyers, and he's got the bike outside Wrigley. That card is awesome, and there was a guy on eBay that just had the best deal on it. So I think that was the last thing that I bought as far as trading cards. No, you know what? That's not right. I got that, but also the Lakers, the '88 Lakers, because I'm obsessed with old Laker teams. That's what taught me to love basketball, and I wanted that whole team, got them all, and it was just somebody breaking that set, which I guess it's good I didn't have more time to think about it, because I look back and I'm like, oh, that would have been cool. Oh, man, I should have done that. But I basically just did, I think there's 7 the entire team is 7, and then I got Doc Rivers thrown in for free because it's Doc, man. And it's like, yeah, it's very important to me to have a Doc Rivers card that says Doc and not Glenn. No offense to his first name, Glenn's a fine name, but I wanted it to say Doc, man. It's like Spud. You don't want a card that says Anthony Webb? Come on.
That's not who he is.
Don't nobody want that, man. Like, what were you thinking, Fleer?
Yeah. Mess that up.
You're my only option.
Yeah.
There's something about dingy old 70s and 80s sports cards that just do it for me, man. There's this old Montreal Canadiens set that I bought. Like, man, they are so cool. It's hard to explain because they look like old NWA dungeon wrestling. They're all dark. You can barely see them. Like, God, these are cool. These are like guys that played before I was even born, much less watching hockey. But I didn't care. I wanted them. They were awesome.
Yeah.
It's that good stuff, man.
Heck yeah.
So, yes, eBay has long been a bastion for comics and cards. I'm totally with you. It's been a while, but I do remember.
And the one little quick thing, the problem I keep running into as far as trying to do anything on Amazon is, man, people's prices are jacked so high. It's kind of like, be reasonable, So you have to kind of go the auction route just to try to get it at a reasonable amount. But, it's rare that I have to have that specific thing that I can't just wait for it,
Yeah, I can
to come up.
Yeah, it's rare you just come across one where it's like, this is the only time you're going to see this. Now, I mentioned my buddy Danielle earlier. For her, that happens all the time, but it's because she's on to certain collections. It's not even the collection. It's that you get 98.4% of it or whatever, and you get down to the hard stuff. You get down to the hard stuff, and that's when you like, hey, I've seen this. This has been on eBay one time in the last 4 years. I didn't get it then, by God, I'm getting it now. Yeah. So I'm with you. I don't run into that very often. It's one of the reasons that, it's one of the 2 reasons that when I started the World Series set, I just started with 1970. Because 1970 apparently was the year that Topps was like, we're making tons of all this crap, so you can get all of them. There's like, if you go back and get the Mets from 1969, you really got to pay for them. Other than that, you're okay. Starting 1970 with the Orioles, man, even the old stuff you can get cheap. So I'm like, sweet, I shall do that. I can get down with that.
Cardboard plummeted. Making everybody.
Yeah, seriously, man, dude. Some of those sets in the 80s, it's like, hey, kids, want a 1,600 card set of baseball players? Because we made one.
Please stop.
God, seriously.
Why?
Like, dude, what are you doing, man? We want to document everything that happened in 1983.
Tom's Tiffany.
Yeah, seriously. We made a card of every fan that saw an Orioles game live in the World Series year of 83. Don't you want those? Kill me. Excuse me. But nah, man, I love all that stuff. And of course, with the, baseball playoffs winding down, I'm back in now. Like, okay, so it's going to be the Brewers, which congratulations, Milwaukee Brewers. That is so awesome that they're in the National League Championship Series. I hope it's us because Milwaukee versus Atlanta is freaking awesome if you know your history. Everton reference. Yeah. And I mean, the Dodgers are the Dodgers, so it's all good. I'm a jerk. The way it works is this. When the Cubs got eliminated, I knew I would enjoy everything that's happened in the National League, and I have. For the American League, it's the Red Sox, of course, because I despise the Red Sox more than... that has to be easily my most hated sporting franchise, which makes no sense. I live in Atlanta. It shouldn't be a big deal, but it's just so overdone, so overhyped, and I'm like, look, man, please, anybody else. I guess it's... It's a cruddy thing for someone that sits here and talks about the Lakers to say, but I can admit the Lakers are like this. Every professional sport has that one team that no matter what, they're going to get the coverage, and it drives you crazy. And basketball's got 2 because it's the Knicks and the Lakers. But I appreciate it. I like the Lakers. I've seen them have some garbage years, and you still have to hear about them all the time. And what's Kobe doing? What did Kobe eat for lunch? Kobe hadn't played in 5 years. Doesn't matter. But yeah, it's like you always have to hear about those 2. You always got to hear about the Yankees and the Red Sox. You always got to hear about the Dallas Cowboys. It's like, man, that's frustrating, man. So that's why I hate the Red Sox. Because it's kind of like the Drew Brees thing, where it's very easy to find Yankee hate, and I get it. They win all the time. It's New York City. I get it. But as far as just coverage, as far as just people talking about it, man, I get inundated with way more Red Sox coverage than Yankees coverage. And this year it didn't bother me because they won so many games. That's the other thing is like, when the Cowboys are good, when the Red Sox are good, it doesn't bother me a bit because they deserve it. But they're going to get talked about like that, whether they're good or not. And that part is very frustrating, especially when you have a team in Atlanta win the division they were not even supposed to compete for, and nobody says peep until like the day of the playoffs. And it's like, that's really kind of frustrating, man. Just because, I mean, it's close to home when you want to talk about your guys, but it's frustrating regardless. Like the Cleveland Indians. Cleveland just like stormed to that Central Division Championship, and nobody said anything. It's like, man, I would like to actually know something about those guys. That would have been kind of fun to keep an eye on. The Brewers, we talked about it earlier. I think it was, God, who was it? I think it might have been A-Rod. I should remember, all those guys are cool, but Rodriguez was trying to explain, like, well, you know, the Brewers have been real hot the last couple of months, and they have, but they've been good all year. You know, their off-season, you look at people make off-season acquisitions, like when the Giants got McCutchen, who's playing for the Yankees now. Hope he does great, because I love that guy, so that's cool. But off-season acquisitions, man, certain ones jump out at you. And Christian Yelich, I know, surprised, he's a good player, and we got to see him a ton when he was in Miami. But he has gone buck wild, probably going to win the NL MVP, or at least going to be a contender for it. But them getting Lorenzo Cain from Kansas City, I just thought got no play whatsoever, and should have, because Lorenzo Cain is a bad sucker. I love that guy. So it's like, man, Milwaukee ain't messing around. That's just two guys. They went Bucky on the pitching staff, bullpen. They really, it was just interesting because I just remember the one time that they were kind of breaking down all the money they were putting into the team. It's like, well, good luck beating Joe Madden and the Cubs, and they did. They went out and did it. And it's like, well, good for y'all, man. That's cool, because that's not exactly the easiest division to. Just because you put money into the team doesn't mean you're going to win, especially not in a division like that. We talk about it every year, man, but it's true. I mean, the Cubs are very good. Good front office, good manager. Cubs. But the Cardinals are still in that division, too. And the Cardinals are always good. The Cardinals, the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the other, we were talking about teams that always get talked about regardless of how good they are. There are certain teams that no matter how bad they might look on paper, they still compete. Like, how in the world, man? That would be an awesome, I think that would be an awesome type of franchise to be. That's what I'm hoping Atlanta United turns into. Atlanta United, I hope, bridges the gap and does both. I want us to be the most hated team in the league, because the most hated team in the league is usually the most successful team in the league. Right now, we're just the most hated team in the league because people talk about us too much, and Arthur's got money, and people don't like that.
Yeah.
But I want to win stuff so people can be justified in their hatred. They're going to do it anyway. I want us to give them a good reason, man.
I'll give you a reason.
That's what I'm hoping for, man. I hope we start with the supporter shield, which I'm still obviously bummed about. But it was cool. It's good. It's good to, you know, when people in England talk about 6-pointers, it's neat to actually be involved in one. Like, yeah, that's what they're talking about. See why it's such a big deal. On the subject of English soccer, I'll get through it real quick. Man, it was a fun weekend, man. I watched Man United Newcastle. That was awesome. And I watched that freaking Liverpool-Chelsea game, man. Holy crap. That goal, if you guys haven't seen that Daniel Sturridge goal, if you like soccer at all, check that sucker out, because it's just bonanners. It's bananas, man. And that was real cool. That was 1-2, and Liverpool hadn't lost, so they got a draw now, but it gets you a point. And it's weird. I was talking to my buddy Dina about that, because he's like, I will never get into soccer because I can't do ties. And I'm like, I understand, but I will also tell you that having gotten into it, if your guys draw level any point after the 85th minute, it's pretty exciting, man. It sounds weird, but it's easy to, you know, you can't just play forever. If you play soccer forever, it'd be tennis. And I love tennis, but holy crap, when you start saying, oh man, a 9-hour, 5-set epic. I'm like, good Lord, man. They should just let y'all retire. They should give you a pension immediately. Go home.
Yeah.
You're done. You're done. Tennis, you know, you're done with tennis. Tennis owes you owe tennis nothing. That's how we do it, man.
That's what's up.
That is exactly what's up, man.
Talk to y'all later.
Yeah, brother. Take care, y'all.